thanks for checking out this video. The human race has a long tradition of supporting this concept that sometimes you have to put up with a little bit of grief in order to get where you want to be.
Are you a sissy or can you handle the truth?
No pain, no gain is the mantra that's chanted in gyms across the country. So I have a very simple question for you. How much are you willing to suffer in order to get better? What does this have to do with healthcare, you ask? Well, let's take a moment and think about life. On this axis, we have life in years marching forward. On this axis, we have quality, how much you're enjoying life. This line separates acceptable quality from unacceptable quality of life. This is, unfortunately, the way most lives go. There is a general trend of life being acceptable, especially when we're being looked after by great parents, and we have most of our needs being met. And as life moves forward, we have both downs and ups that affect our perception of what our quality of life would be, and eventually we die. The first bad thing that might happen is that we find out that Santa isn't real. And while that is a disappointment, it doesn't make our life completely unacceptable because we still get presents. We fall in love, suddenly life gets better. Our favorite politician is elected. Maybe our least favorite politician is elected. We get a raise. We get fired. We get sleep apnea. We get a CPAP. We lose an important body part. And eventually we die. Now, there is another outcome, and that is that we could die this way as well. Fire versus angels. If you're watching this video because you're one of my patients, in red is probably a simple depiction of what your lifeline approximately looks like. If you do what I say, this is a simple depiction of what your lifeline might look like. Now, at first, you probably look at this and say, ooh, look at that. I'm going to live longer. I'm going to have a better quality of life. But then you say to yourself, what's that very significant looking negative deflection in quality of life that I see in that line that happens to me before I get to live longer? Here's the thing. If I tell you to stop smoking in order to live longer, you're going to feel terrible until you don't. If I tell you to stop eating food the way you've been eating food for the last 60 years of your life, your quality of life will probably suffer. It might even drive your quality of life into the unacceptable range. If I tell you to exercise for its health benefits, no pain, no gain. Here's the real point of this video. What if the pill that I give you makes you feel unwell? What if you have anxiety, shortness of breath, panic, nausea, diarrhea, constipation, muscle pain, hair growth, hair loss, every other reported or unreported side effect that you can find on Google? Are you willing to suffer that pain, that discomfort in order to be better in the future? How much are you willing to suffer?
No pain, no gain.
this may be a bit of a digression for a video about no pain, no gain, but there is the opposite situation where, you look for quick fixes that end up potentially not working out as well as you would like. Now, the situation I'm thinking about is actually the person who may have a substance use disorder, where you're using substances in order to try to make your quality of life immediately better. So the example that is depicted here is, for example, a heroin addict. You'll notice that life is quite unacceptable at the beginning of this, and you get a shot of heroin, and transiently, first shot of heroin, your quality of life improves. It becomes acceptable. But it doesn't take very long before you drift back into a very unacceptable situation. You take another hit of heroin, it works, but maybe not quite as well. You take a third hit, and it doesn't even bring life back into an acceptable quality of range. And then unfortunately, with the fourth injection, your little personal pharmacology experiment ends badly. Let's talk about the marshmallow experiment. This famous experiment where adults tortured small children by placing a single marshmallow in front of them. The adult then told the child, "As soon as I leave the room, you can eat that delicious marshmallow, but if you wait until I get back and you manage to fight off all of your evolutionary programming and serious hunger pains, I will give you a second marshmallow, and you can eat 2 instead of 1. You can read about this famous experiment elsewhere. I can assure you that my current research ethics board would not have approved this mean-spirited study. But the results show that the more you are willing to suffer up front, delay your gratification, the better off you are going to end up down the road. So what's it going to be? Are you going to binge on that first marshmallow? Keep smoking, for example? Give up on your smoking cessation attempt? Stop your exercise? Stop trying to eat better? Stop taking my pills? Or are you going to rise to the challenge? Are you going to exceed expectations and win the prize of a better quality of life?
Are you a sissy or can you handle the truth?
The choice is yours.
No pain, no gain.
Okay, there is a disclaimer to this video. If you are doing anything for your health care that is designed to make your health better, and what you're doing involves some suffering, for example, you need to make sure you're doing it under the supervision of an appropriate healthcare provider. So if you are exercising, for example, and you're exercising to the point of pain, you need to make sure you're not overdoing it, and it might be quite reasonable to consult with a fitness trainer. If you are trying to eat a better diet and you are finding that you are suffering quite a bit, you need to talk to a dietitian. If you are taking medications from your physician and you believe that the medications are making you feel unwell, you need to have access to your physician that prescribed the medications. You need to go over the way that you're feeling, and you need to make sure that it is safe for you to continue taking those medications. You shouldn't do this on your own. None of Dr. Dresser's children were injured in the making of this video. Dr. Dresser is not a drill sergeant.
You can't handle the truth.